Hey all, here at OS Reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at a folding electric bike. This is called the Engwe EP-2 Pro. In contrast to many of the commuter-style e-bikes that we've seen in the past, which have been more budget-conscious with slimmer builds, this one is more advertised as a quote-unquote mountain bike. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the most rugged bike I've ever seen, but it does indeed have extremely thick 4-inch tires. So in that sense, it does feel a bit more rugged and durable, and a little bit closer to something like a small motorcycle than a standard e-bike. Combined with up to 750 watts of peak power, does come at a slightly more expensive price though. So this one here will sell for around $930. You can collapse the two tires together and even fold down the handlebar on the top, so you can put it into the trunk of a car, for example, when you're on the go. With that being said, it's still a very heavy bike because of the large tires and the battery in here. So it weighs around 74 pounds. Still, you don't really feel that weight, especially as you're riding, even if you're using it as a regular bike. Supports a max load of 330 pounds, and that also includes this extra little basket that you see there on the side. So if you want to carry something with you like groceries, keep that in mind. Claim to get you up to 50 miles on a full charge, but this is going to be if you're riding on pretty flat terrain and you're also using the assisted pedal mode and not really going up steep inclines. I think in regular usage, the number is a lot closer to 30 miles or so in my testing, which already is quite good considering the added weight of this bike. It has an LCD display, no companion app I believe on this one, so it doesn't connect via a smartphone app, for example, but you can control everything directly on the bike. Standard e-bike modes including a fully pedal mode and then pedal assist, which means that as you are riding, it also has the motor kick in a full throttle mode, which means the motor is doing everything for you. You don't have to pedal at all. There are 7 different gears that you can shift between. It's made by Shimano, so pretty standard stuff. Mechanical disc brakes on the front and on the rear. And there are suspensions, but it is only on the front to just prevent any shock as you are going over rougher terrain. Again, the thicker tires do also help alleviate some of the bumpiness. Comes in this large cardboard box. You can see that the bike is what they call 95% assembled. Pulling it out, we can already see the form. We just have to remove all of this excess foam, and does come included, of course, with all the tools that you need to fully assemble it. And here's what the charger looks like. So it's similar to, let's say, a larger laptop charger. Plug it in, leave it for about 5 to 6 hours, and you're ready to go. Alright, so let's take a closer look now at the bike itself. So zooming on in terms of the bike seat, it is made out of this synthetic leather material. It has a pretty generous padding to it that feels a little bit more cushioned and comfortable than many of the other cheaper e-bikes we've seen. Pretty good in terms of even riding for longer stretches of time. It feels good. It's completely adjustable in terms of height. Just by pulling this lever, you can move this up or down. And then the saddle here on the back, again, you can put something on top. Here we can see the tail light here on the back, which is pretty bright and turns on as well if you are braking so people can see you in the dark. All of the mud guards are also constructed out of aluminum alloy. Mechanical gears as well as the kickstand here to pop it up, and then also the pedals themselves are also constructed out of aluminum alloy and do in fact also fold down. So if I press down on here, I can even fold this completely down when you are traveling, so it takes up even less space, and then just pop it back up again and you're ready to go. And then here, by the way, is the charging port, which is a little bit stiff and sometimes hard to open up. But anyways, that's how you plug it in to give it a top up. Make sure you plug in the seal again if you are riding in wet or rainy conditions. And you can also charge the battery if you want to remove it, which you would do so by basically pulling this part open, and then you can slide out the battery pack. But like I said, you can also charge it when it's in the bike. In terms of actually folding it open, it's pretty simple to do. There's just this one lock, which is again all made out of metal. Lift this upwards and you're just ready to fold it into half. And just a closer look here at the gear shifting system here. Again, all is looking quite good in terms of the overall design. I do quite like the aesthetics that they have gone for here. Now, another interesting thing here is in order to remove the battery, there is actually a key lock, which is located here on the side of the bike. It's a little hard to see, but basically it acts as a safety switch where you can twist this in order to release the battery. And it also means that if you have it in the unlocked mode, the bike will not turn on. Just like a car, if someone has your bike, they don't have the key, they can't necessarily start the bike and use the engine at least. We've got the aforementioned front light, the guards again made out of metal, and then the suspenders, which are going to work pretty well if you're going up a bumpy terrain to absorb some of that shock. But again, a lack of suspension on the rear does mean that your butt can still feel a little bit of that action. The grips here, which are made out of rubber, do feel pretty comfortable and have a nice ergonomic feel to them. Again, we do have the brakes and everything works as expected. There is a bell, which is a mechanical one, but works just fine there. And then we also have the controls for navigating between the different modes. And a thing to note here is that the power key is actually located at the very bottom here. So this is the button that you would have to press on to turn it on or off. I was actually hunting around for this key since it's a little bit hard to find. So a lot of things on this bike are kind of hidden from view in a sense, including the power and then that safety lock. For a few seconds, we should see that the display here pop onto life. A pretty generous size for the LCD display, but it just shows you basic status like the battery percentage remaining, as well as your current speed. And then also in terms of your trip, you can see the mile that it's traveled so far. And I can also tap along the sides here basically to navigate up and down the different menus. The keys here might be a little bit hard to navigate, but you can actually move this bell ringer switch so that it's a little bit easier to hit. And we have the ability to take a look at, for example, your average speed, the maximum speed that you've traveled. And if we press on the second key here down below, it will turn on the lights. So they are pretty visible, easy to see. Otherwise, the larger keys that we saw there on the bike, those are for adjusting the 5 levels of pedal assistance. So for example, in level 1, it's very low assistance, and the motor can assist you up to 6 miles an hour or 10 kilometers per hour. And then it slowly increases. 5 basically allows you to unlock the full potential and speed of the bike. And technically that, again, goes upwards of 28 miles an hour. In most cases, definitely wouldn't recommend going that fast on a bike at the end of the day. Definitely still wear a helmet, take those safety precautions, but it has that horsepower in there, which is good. And then the side here, we have the Shimano for the gears that you can adjust depending on if you're going up different inclines, how much you want to pedal. And you can change this just by pumping it upwards to move it down to 1, and then press on here to actually move it upwards to a higher gear level. Accelerate just by using this little lever here on the side. So that's more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the Engwe EP-2 Pro electric bike. Again, they claim this is a mountain bike and it does have the really fat tires, but it also comes at the trade-off of being just a bit heavier as well in terms of the overall weight, though it does give you a sense of stability and just some better overall shock absorbency as you're riding along. It is a very comfortable ride, feels super smooth, and again, just like any electric bike, almost feels like it gives you superpowers once you use the assisted mode, and overall it looks quite attractive as well if you want something with a little bit more horsepower at the end of the day. So you can check out more details if you're interested in the links down below. For now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.